Time having arrived, I call the meeting of the school committee for today, Tuesday, May 19, 2026. It's approximately 7:37. If you could just all please rise and help us salute our beautiful flag.
I pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleagues and guests, I believe I have to read this little statement here that we read constantly. Welcome to the meeting of the Brockton School Committee. This is the agenda that we'll be discussing this evening. We have one visitor. Additionally, this meeting can be viewed on our television channel 8 and on channel 1071, the high definition channel. Before I begin, let me just establish a quorum. Mr. Pina.
Here.
Madam Azak.
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Here.
Ms. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Gomes.
Here.
Ms. Centello.
Here.
And I'm here as well.
Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan, are you on the call?
Yeah, here.
Are you there as well?
Yes,
That's a good thing. Welcome back.
It's been a while.
thank you.
We only have one person. If the Lloyd and Danae, if you could come up and. Good evening and welcome, sir. Thank you. And madam.
So the last time we were here, we delivered 10 questions specifically to the school committee. These questions didn't arrive by chance. They were thought out and they were very researched. From the school committee, no one reached out except for one person. I have a problem with that. And the reason I have a problem with that was 2 months ago. We spoke about the most marginalized grouping of people in the city of Brockton, the special ed department. We came here to represent our autistic son. I also do not believe in coincidence. The sign before me. It's work like this that makes things better. I hear about school choice, I hear about budgets. I have an amazing idea. Why don't we consider that marginalized group first? Get them better schools, better technology. Make sure that they're staffed properly in such a way that makes it so that when school choice is now opened, we have an opportunity for maybe students at the high school level, maybe even the elementary school level, because back in the day, people would sell their homes elsewhere, move into the city of Brockton to have their special ed children taught here. We don't see that much anymore. My problem is if we're talking about what we're going to do, and every year we have the same upside down budget, I don't understand how, and again, I'm a teacher of mathematics. I don't understand how that you can have the person who was here before the problems, during the problems, and after the problems still have a job. Why don't we, instead of laying off the teachers, why don't we lay off the people who are obviously not doing their jobs? Maybe there should be a cut in those very absorbent administrator salaries, and we move that money down to where it have the most impact. And I know I might sound that I'm a little frustrated because I'm a lot frustrated. We can do better. So, you all have my email. You have my wife's email. There were 10 questions. Crickets. We've got to do better, guys. We're supposed to be the city of champions. And when it comes time to champion the most vulnerable and the most marginalized, we are greeted with silence and indifference. So either you're part of the solution or you're colluding in the problem. The most dangerous person in any situation, it's not the pro, it's not the anti, it's the non. It's the person who sits right in the middle, who knows something wrong is happening and sits silent. I'm gonna ask the school committee again. truly be the champions of these children. Focus your energy in such a way that it makes it undeniable that I'm sorry for a second. When I'm speaking with the special ed, the guys at the top, they refer to themselves as the district. They're not. We are. The parents are. The students are. You're supposed to be our representation to support them. We've got to do better. Tomorrow is my son's 10th birthday. I greeted him this morning and said, buddy, you know what today is? He's like, what, daddy, what, daddy, what, daddy? Today's the last time you're going to be in the single digits. Today's the last time you're going to be 9. Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up 10. And that tickled him to death. I need you to protect my 10-year-old son. I need you to protect all the vulnerable and all the marginalized. Stop picking and choosing. Let's just get the work done. And if you need a voice, I've been told I'm pretty good at the mic. If you need someone who's going to go out there and do the work, we've already started. Let's get it done. That's our time.
Thank you, sir. I believe that was it as far as the individuals on the list of speakers. So, Madam Clerk, please take over the agenda.
Thank you. So Roman numeral 3 is the report of the superintendent of schools, and item A is recognitions. Our first recognition for this evening is Robert Moyes, our BHS student representative, for his service as the student representative on the Brockton School Committee during the 25-26 school year, during which he offered valuable insight into the student experience at Brockton High School and represented his peers with distinction. We are going to miss you so much when you're at UNC next year, but we are also so proud, and it's nice to see you sporting your new gear, even though I know you still have your Brockton gear, right? And you'll keep that close. He will be studying economics in the fall, and so we are so proud of you. We're so happy that you chose us here in Brockton, and we do hope you stay in touch. I know that we are going to miss your amazing updates every week. And I don't know if anybody else wanted to say anything, but I do have a certificate and a gift to present you with from all of us. Just...
Chair.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So, Robert, it has been a pleasure having you at the table with us. I actually always look forward to your presentations because this is what a lot of the viewers want to see. A lot of the constituents really enjoy seeing the positive that is coming out of Brockton High School. And every time you're presenting before us, you've been thorough, very informative, from sports to drama, music, arts, everything. You've touched base on a lot of different programs that we have within Brockton High School. So, and earlier, I didn't mean to put you on the spot for those that weren't here, but Robert took an opportunity that he had with student choice, and he chose to come to Brockton High School. And this is a product of someone seeing what Brockton has to offer rather than going outside of Brockton. You came into Brockton. And I just want to commend you on doing that because you're going to UNC. You've been an amazing, amazing student rep. And I know a lot of us, I'm looking forward to shaking your hand once you get that diploma. And you are always welcome to come back. I always want our alum to come back and present to our current students to show them, like we discussed earlier, some students are not always going to college. College might not be the route that many will take. Some go out into the working world. But we have so many successful alumni, and I think that's going to be my goal this year, is to work with BPS and showcase our alumni here. Because once a boxer, always a boxer, and many of us are proud, and no matter where we run into another boxer, we're like, Brockton, we're the city of champions. We are the city of champions. And I thank you for choosing Brockton, and best of luck on your new journey over at UNC, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Congratulations.
Will you? Go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez, and then Ms. Oliver.
Thank you for choosing Brockton. You're a prime example of what project, the education system in Brockton is, so it was appealing to you because we offer so much. Looking forward to seeing where you go. I know you, I'm a Duke boy, I'll be honest with you, so go Dukies. But good luck down in North Carolina, and hopefully I get some tickets, you know what I mean? All right.
Hey, it's against the law, remember that.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Student tickets are $12.
Ms. Oliver.
Thank you, Robbie. I want to say I wish you all the best. And also thank you for being a great role model to all the students in Brockton High, especially in the band. Especially the seniors have taken such a good care of the freshmen in the band. And I see just the role model you guys been to show that, coming to Brockton is worthy of coming here because there's so much we can offer in this high school. But also, thanks for bringing back homecoming. I think that's what you ran on and became the class president. And I hope that they continue doing that because you guys did a really great job. But I do wish you all the best. I won't be here doing graduation because I'll be at my daughter's graduation. But I do wish you and the class of 26 the best always.
Mr. Gomes, thank you, ma'am.
Very briefly, thank you. It has been a pleasure having you amongst the school committee and doing your presentations. Allow us the opportunity to have an insight. We can always make it to everything or know what's going on all the time, but having your report really shine lights on some of the amazing things that we're able to do. Wishing you the best of luck in your future endeavors and that everything that you touch becomes a total accomplishment. Hopefully, after you're done, you decide to come back, whether it's to work or invest or join something within the Brockton district to help out the community. So don't feel pressure, but we do expect some return on investment. I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the new folks, the 4 months, 14 days, and 10 hours that us new folks have been here, we are impressed. At least I am. And thank you for representing our school so well. It's nice to have people outside of this community speaking well about our community. Often we don't do it. We Brocktonians don't do it. So it's nice to have somebody from the outside of the community that speaks and represents this institution well and this city well. So thank you for all that you've done, and please continue to, don't forget where you came from. Don't forget where your roots are, and come back and help us out.
Of course, I want to say thank you all so much for this platform. Like coming into Brockton, this is kind of like the end goal. Like you come in with a vision of impact and wanting to make change, and this is kind of the shining lights and having so many viewers to make an impact on the school and the community that you joined. It's really been part of a family, and thank you so much, guys.
Well, let's take a quick recess, and then we'll come right back so we can snap some pictures and stuff. We're back in session.
Thank you. The next item under A, recognitions, is a recognition for Christopher and Kayla Curran for the Downey Elementary Playground Communication Board project. And at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Mr. Pina.
Through the chair, tonight it is my honor to recognize an example of what true community partnership looks like. In public education, we often talk about collaboration between schools, families, and the broader community, but sometimes those words only become meaningful when someone takes action. This recognition is for a person who saw a need, understood the impact it would have on our students, and chose not to wait for someone else to solve the problem. Chris Curran exemplified that spirit, recognizing the communication challenges faced by some of our special education students, particularly in creating meaningful opportunities for engagement and expression during play. Chris stepped forward to make a difference. Through his own initiative, leadership, and commitment to our children, including his own, he raised the funds necessary to provide a communication board, which you see right in front of me, for the playground at the Downey School, as well as numerous other locations, creating a tool that will help students connect, communicate, and hopefully participate in their play. This is not just a donation, this is an act of service. Projects like this can often become delayed by process, funding, limitations, or competing priorities. But Chris reminded us that when community members partner with our schools, incredible things can happen. This communication board will serve students for years to come, but just as importantly, it serves as a reminder that what is possible when parents and community leaders refuse to stand on the sidelines. On behalf of the Brockton School Committee, thank you for your generosity, your leadership, and your unwavering commitment to our students. Chris, please accept this citation as a small token of our gratitude for making a lasting difference in the lives of Brockton children. Thank you. I just wanted to add as well that his wife, who couldn't be here today, was also a big part of this, and also the special education department within the schools, who I believe was trying to get this done, but just couldn't get it over the line. And Chris saw that, and he just stepped up and did what needed to happen. And I will say this, that this is something that I think that we can all take a lesson from, and I'm just proud of you, bud.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, sir.
I'm not as tall. Let's bend this down a little bit. Just want to say a quick word. Coco's communication board started with a simple idea. It was just raise enough money for one school, right? A school that had meant a lot to us in our first year of being there, and couldn't have made an easier transition for us as new parents with a new diagnosis, just kind of afraid to bring our kid to school. Who's going to love our kid like us, right? Every parent feels that way. But when you have a nonverbal kid, it gets real scary when he can't tell you about his day. So you have to check his backpack to see what the paperwork inside of it says, to see what he did that day. Did he color? Did he eat? Did he go to the bathroom? Small things like that. So I want to thank the school and the staff for everything that they've done for my son and others like him at this point, especially at that preschool level. I know it may differ at different levels, but where we were and the teachers that we had been nothing but amazing. Never did I think over 180 people would donate. Just a simple post, just trying to raise enough money, not even knowing how much a communication board costs at that time. And that we would raise enough money for Coco School, the Downey, let alone 7 additional schools. My son is the reason I started this project. And because of him and this amazing community, we will donate 8 communication boards throughout the city of Brockton. The autism and special needs community is close to my heart. I'm not the father I pictured I'd be. I'm the father that Cole needed. I'm sure this is just the beginning of something special. And I want to thank all of those that made this happen tonight. Stephen for the amazing support of inviting me here to accept this award. I want to thank the Downey Elementary, Jen Colburn, and obviously Susan for everything you've done. Just hearing your journey for the past year and a half has been amazing. And I don't think this would have happened as soon as it did if you didn't run that battle that you did for 18 months before I was even there. Because as soon as this happened, we started communicating, and I got to skip a lot of steps because you had fought for this so hard, and it just led me into the perfect direction in what we need to do, so I can't thank you enough for that. I want to thank all the donors and the people that have shared my post to create this awareness. I want to thank my family for the love and support that they give me on all my projects, but especially this one. And I want to thank Coco for being my greatest teacher. And my message is, let's make Brockton the most inclusive city in Massachusetts. We should do it.
I hope you don't mind if I speak for a minute. I started this project because I'm an assistive technology specialist in the district. I give voices with iPads to students that are nonverbal like Coco. I met them at a team meeting. And little did I know when I met you that we would be standing here today, and I'm so proud of you and what you started and what we've been then able to collaborate together, because I know the schools in Brockton, and I hope everybody on this committee has been into the schools in Brockton that have students that use these boards. The Angelo School already had one that they got from the Flutie Foundation. They bought it. The Kennedy School PAC bought one, and the Flutie Foundation donated one, thanks to Mimi Welch, the speech therapist there, donated one. After I knew Mimi had it, I said, oh, let me call Flutie. I'm going to get more. And they said, one per district, sorry. And then I've been working, and I won't stop working with the CTE department to have them make it. It's been a long process, and there's other things that have come before me. And then one day I find out, okay, I'm sorry. One day I find out that Chris is doing this. So together, we have these signs now with the school committee's approval to be put at all the other schools that have the classrooms for the students to benefit. And it's just a matter of zip ties and put them on the fences inside the playground, and pray they stay. So.
Well, thank you, and it's greatly appreciated. You know, your work is not being unrecognized, so we appreciate all that you do, because a lot of us, believe it or not, have children who are autistic, or grandkids, or nieces and nephews, so thank you very much for all that you do for them on their behalf.
We'll move on to item B, which is the teaching and learning report, and we'll start with the student representative report.
Good evening, everyone. For the last time, good evening, Mayor Rodriguez, Dr. Tiliani, Mr. Gomes, Mr. Pina, Mr. Rodriguez, Ms. Oliver, Ms. Centeo, and Ms. Asak, to all those in the crowd, and to those watching online. Starting off, we have tennis winning their first game against New Bedford 6-0. Notable players were Kyron Borgia with a 5-0, and Steve Rojas and Chandru Zhang with a thrilling doubles match where they clutched it for the win after a long back-and-forth battle. Brockton Track Club is open and started for youth interested in the sport of track. They offer an amazing program for youth looking to get engaged over this summer and having fun, learning how to jump further, run faster, and throw further, as well as make great friends in the process. I ran with Brockton Track Club for 4 years, and when I was old enough was a coach for 4 years, and the program is absolutely amazing, and everything Mr. Fidalgo does for it is absolutely game-changing. They give scholarships out to the high school coaches and offer swag at the tables as well. And this program really does build the next generation. As we can see this through the boys track team. Jared Mighty recently broke the school record in the 400-meter hurdles, running 53.25 seconds, and also a U.S. number 14. He passed Jordan Williams for the Brockton High School record, and you can see the two in the picture as Jordan congratulated Jared. Seamus Caniff ran third in the 2-mile at the same meet, and Abdiel ran fourth in the 400 at D1 coaches invite, which is out of all the D1 teams in Massachusetts. At the freshman-sophomore meet, Christopher Delmy ran the fastest time in the state as a freshman in the 100 meters. And of course, none of this would be possible with our athletic trainer, Bree, who received an award from the MIAA for the outstanding dedication to our athletes at this afternoon's senior athletic celebration. On to more great performances, our Brockton High School Drama Club performed the longest-running Broadway musical, Chicago, last Friday through Sunday, featuring a musical pit. Their star leads, Ellie Cabellin, Larissa Tavares, and Joy Burnett did an absolutely stellar job in this timeless piece. The Classical and Modern Language Honor Society and Best Buddies had a collab recently spending time to do some arts and crafts. They did Chinese paper cutting, creating masterpieces in the yellow calf. There was recently an after-school social for students dealing with sickle cells and chronic pain with free food, drinks, and games that aims to offer students the resources they need and we may not know. NHS hosted their annual Chalk Day not too long ago, and we had a large showing of volunteers and participants that had a blast. I volunteered last year, and it was a great time for everyone, especially the face painting and prizes. Our annual building soccer tournament is kickstarting next week on the 27th, where Red will face Azure at 3 p.m., followed by Green versus Yellow at 4:15. This can be seen in our very own Marciano Stadium, where the championship will take place the following day on the 28th. Senior prom was hosted at Gillette Stadium and was a night to remember. I can vouch the DJ did an phenomenal job with the music. All the volunteers and advisors who worked to make this possible made it truly special. And Gillette as a host was just the best. So thank you to all those who that made it possible. You can see the energy unfolding as the night went on through these pictures, and this was just a glimpse of it. This week marks the last Spirit Week of the year. We wrapped up World Cup Countries Day on Monday, where students rep their favored soccer teams and nationalities, as well as rep your building color day, as you're on top. Tomorrow we'll see students in baggy shorts past their knees and t-shirts 2 sizes too big for Adam Sandler's Day, which will be followed up by Senior Citizen Day on Thursday, and finally Career/College Decision Day. The class officers recently met with representatives from Youth Soul, which is a community leadership and organizing program for youth, and they are working on a mental health resource for the students of Brockton. Based on the philosophy that if students don't know where to go, then students can get assistance, and it aims to make resources known to the public and help connect students to organizations within the high school and in the community of Brockton that people may not know of. Another update is that there are additional metal detectors being implemented in the school, allowing for late arriving students to go through their own door to reduce congestion in the main office space. Here are a few updates to look out for regarding seniors. Cap and gown sales were Tuesday to Thursday, but can still be bought at the supplying store for the same amount. There will be an assembly on Friday, May 22nd, 4th period, to go over the procedure of graduation and any of the requirements for ending the year off. Yearbooks are being sold and are currently on sale for $75 and are moving quick, so if you're looking to buy one, make sure to stop by and pick one up before they're gone. Senior awards are also coming up on June 3rd here in the Little Theater, where exemplary students will be awarded for their outstanding academics and success over their 4 years at Brockton High School. Lastly, there will be a graduation rehearsal on the morning of the 29th as a graduation rehearsal where seniors will get a breakfast and walk through graduation. Now onto our to-do list, we can see Math MCAS has started today and will continue on to Thursday, so our sophomores are holding strong the last stretch of testing, as well as all the upperclassmen who are finishing up AP and IB testing. This week is the makeup tests. JROTC will be hosting the Race of Champions on the 22nd, featuring a day of physical fitness. The annual Pops concert will take place on May 27th, featuring the Brockton High School bands and chorus. Senior Sunset is on the 28th, which will serve as the seniors' last goodbye at Marciano Stadium with fun activities. And finally, the Trio will be hosting a Boston Red Sox game for all participating members on June 4th. Thank you.
Now I know why my daughter asked me for that shirt. I thought she was showing some pride in me, but now I realize it's the 2 sizes too big. That's cool, man. That's all.
Ms. Oliver.
Just want to say regarding the play, Chicago was breathtaking. It was incredible. It really felt like I went to Broadway, and I have gone to Broadway shows in New York. This was unbelievable. I'm speechless. I'm extremely proud of our students. I am so glad it was a packed night, the first night and beyond. I don't know. We have incredible talented students, and I do wish they continue with the acting, and one day I can see them in Broadway or even on the screen, but we have some incredible talented students, and they put on a performance that they left us like literally standing ovation, and how proud I am that we continue to show that our students have incredible talent, and we have always got to fight for the drama club and the band, because we have some incredible students with great talent, and it was phenomenal. It was unbelievable. Thank you.
100%. I think that was like a testament. They came here last meeting asking for additional resources to make it possible. I think this really showed that it's well deserved, and they deserve that extra push to go where they want to go.
And I am really grateful for all those partners that donated. I know they literally donated so much money to the drama club, and I truly appreciate to all those that has donated to the club. It was a lot of money, and I do appreciate all those with that continue to support our students, especially the drama and the band department. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I attended on Sunday, and I was in awe, to be honest with you. That was not a high school play. I mean, it has had such an impact on me that throughout the week, every time I have a meeting at City Hall, that's what I bring up. I think I brought it up yesterday when we met with the state folks and said, if we don't build this high school, I'm going to beat the what out of you, because those kids deserve a new high school. And I was speechless, to be honest with you. So, and please, whoever you see in the hallway that was a part of that, the teachers, the organizers, the behind the scenes folks, just please tell them that we really appreciate it. And it was just something else. you know. Madam Soup, your report.
Yes, thank you. My report. All right, good evening, everyone. So first, I want to start, I know I mentioned educator appreciation at our last meeting, but I also want to acknowledge some of our BPS parents and community partners who actually helped us celebrate our amazing educators and staff earlier this month. So staff throughout the district were treated to gifts and good meals as a show of gratitude for their hard work supporting our students. To name just a few, there were donations of school supplies and self-care kits from the United Way of Greater Plymouth County Family Resource Center to Champion, Arnone, and North. Some Boxer parents got together to donate hundreds of charcuterie boards to educators during their staff meetings. The Brookfield PTO worked hard to collect donations from several restaurants to put together an epic spread for staff. And these are just a few examples of how our community honored our educators and our staff. So I want to thank everyone. Thank you again to our incredible BPS community, staff, parents, and our partners. Also, congratulations to our Cape Verdean Portuguese bilingual community facilitator, Ellie DePina, who will be recognized next month with the ELL Parent Champion Award from the Collaborative Parent Leadership Action Network, or C-Plan, at their 10th Anniversary Awards. Ellie was nominated for the award by East Principal Tracy Shula Montero in recognition of her dedication, leadership, and meaningful impact on students, families, and the community. Ellie will be recognized for her work elevating student and family voices, her place as a trusted bridge between schools and Cape Verdean and Portuguese-speaking households, her strong, culturally responsive engagement practices, and her efforts to build trust between immigrant families and school staff, among other strengths. So congratulations to Ellie on behalf of our entire district. I would also like to introduce you to our 25-26 home health aides. Through the DesiMass grad grant and partnership with Healthcare EDU, BPS was able to offer this course, which will allow students to graduate with their home health aide certificate. This is a 75-hour course consisting of a 45-hour didactic component and 30 hours of in-person lab instruction. In addition to earning a high school diploma, students will graduate with a certificate in the healthcare field, which gives them a major head start in pursuing their dream careers in healthcare. Most of them are still attending classes while also juggling full-time jobs or participating in paid internships. BPS also hosted our annual Haitian Flag Day celebration, which made its triumphant return to City Hall last Friday ahead of the holiday, which was yesterday. In keeping with tradition, students from several of our schools came together along with the seniors in the community to celebrate the creation of the Haitian flag in 1803. This year's celebration featured performances and words of celebration from leaders in our community. Thank you to Mr. Guyoto from BHS, who worked on behalf of BPS to organize this amazing event alongside Haitian community partners. As they get closer to finishing high school and becoming the first class of promised graduates, seniors presented their capstone projects, which focused on their post-secondary decision-making process, including the steps they followed and the informed decisions they made about what will come next for them, whether it's college, the military, or starting a career. Each member of the senior class had a table display where they could show artifacts representing their decisions and walk underclassmen and invited guests through how they arrived at their plans for next year and beyond. Just a reminder again that registration is open for the Community Schools of Brockton Summer Program. You can register online by visiting brocktoncommunityschools.com, and you can view the entire summer catalog at bpsma.org/summer catalog. And finally, I am pleased to introduce to all of you our 2026 class of administrative interns. So this is an internship program that Brockton hosts, which I think is an amazing program that I haven't seen in other districts, that allows some of our own educators to have internships in administration for the end of the school year. So they are with us here tonight, and I'd like to introduce you to them. So I'm going to make you all stand up. Sorry about that. Morgan Thatcher. If you wouldn't mind standing up, welcome. Morgan joined Brockton High School in September of 2019 and currently works as a physical education teacher. Over the past 4 years, she also served as a behavior management specialist, focusing on building relationships, promoting accountability, and implementing structured student supports. In addition to her teaching responsibilities, she's an active member of the Proficiency Commitment Leadership Team, or we call it the PCLT, contributing to school-wide instructional improvement. She's also the founder of Rocky's Girls, a mentorship program that connects high school students with youngster peers to foster leadership, confidence, and volleyball skills. Morgan pursued this internship to expand her knowledge of school leadership and student support systems with the goal of continuing to grow as an effective educational leader. So welcome, Morgan. Next, we have Luke Hancock, who's here with us today. Hi, Luke. Who began his career with BPS in 2010, working in various community schools programs. In 2014, he became a full-time teacher and is now in his 12th year in education. Throughout his career, Luke has served in a variety of roles across 10 schools in our district, including adapted physical education teacher and sub-separate special education teacher. He currently works as a moderate special education teacher at Edison Aspire program and Edison Evening Academy. In addition to his teaching responsibility, Luke has contributed to the implementation of key events such as the Special Olympics and Brockton High School Freshman Orientation. Luke is pursuing this internship to deepen his understanding of how initiatives are developed and implemented in the grade, school, and district levels. Derek Barros began his career with BPS in 2016. So congratulations, Derek. So this marks his 10th year in the district. Over the years, he has held a variety of roles, including substitute teacher, paraprofessional at the Raymond, monitor teacher assistant at Brockton High School, monitor teacher assistant and therapeutic support at the Huntington Therapeutic Day School, and school adjustment counselor at both Huntington Therapeutic Day and Brockton High. In addition to his school-based roles, Derek has been a member of the BHS football coaching staff since 2021. He is pursuing the administrative internship to enhance his understanding of school leadership operations. Derek believes that effective administrators must not only understand the culture, rhythm, and daily function of their buildings, but also meet students where they are emotionally, academically, and socially. And last but not least, Deanna Doyle. She has been an educator with BPS for 14 years, including 9 in various leadership roles. She currently teaches math at North, where she is also a proud alum. Her leadership experience includes serving on the Proficiency Commitment Leadership Team and the MTSS Committee, as well as working as a PLC math facilitator. Deanna is dedicated to advancing student academic growth and achievement through data-driven instruction and fostering positive relationships with students. Deanna also serves as a community school supervisor and has coached cheerleading at Brockton High School since 2017. She is pursuing the administrative internship to further develop her leadership skills with a focus on supporting teachers in implementing inclusive, student-centered, and data-informed practices. So welcome again to all of our administrative interns. Again, I think this is an amazing way that we invest in our own talent here in the district, and I know that many of our school leaders and our directors around the district actually came from this program, so thank you.
Not a question. I actually attended the Promise Senior Capstone, and I got an opportunity to talk to many of the students, but I was super impressed with the maturity and also the readiness that all of the students there showed up. They was ready for young adulthood. One of the questions I did ask, did they feel like the Promise supported them to make a very clear and sound decision? And the answers that I received throughout my communication was yes. I got to talk to some of the students to remind them that adulthood will be difficult, to also enjoy a little bit of the time that they left, to enjoy the summer. A lot of them have goals to work in the summer. Some of them wants to save money, work multiple jobs, get in a car, but they all felt ready to move on. So I was very impressed with the level of maturity. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Next item, please.
Yes.
Things to be referred to subcommittee.
Yes. Sorry, just one question. I know I should know this, but I had the Q&As from the fiscal report that we didn't get to. Would we be taking that up under unfinished business instead? Under the
Yes.
public school hearing school budget? Okay, so I'll wait till that. All right, so yes, C, items to refer to subcommittee.
Anything going to subcommittees? Madam Azak.
It's not really going to subcommittee. Can we just, sorry, Mrs. Campbell, to put you on the spot. I had someone reach out to me asking about the stage, the dedication for Mr. Macrina and Ms. Thomas. They had wondered why it wasn't done during the musical, and it wasn't because of the set and the way that the stage was set up, that it just wasn't the right time to do that. So I believe Mrs. Campbell was working on that with that department, and I believe we're going to have a date sometime in June. Oh, actually, June 2nd. So that's, for those that are watching, that's when we're going to do that, do the official unveiling. And because I know I got 2 emails on that asking why it wasn't done. So mark our calendars. Thank you.
June 2nd at what time?
I'm not sure.
Because we have a school committee meeting on that day. We
To
wanna
be
do it
determined.
just before the school committee meeting, or? To be determined. Okay. All right, to be determined. Anyone else? Anything else? Okay, good. Next slide.
Roman numeral 4 is the consent agenda.
Are there any items we want to, go ahead, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr.
I'm going to pull item B, the approval of the bid review subcommittee meeting.
All right.
Well, it was just a point of clarification, and I know I bring this up, but with things that are always happening in the news, I just want to double check. So I'm always for our students experiencing and going, having the overnight trips and things like that. But, so this is the, just a point of clarification on the Empower Yourself overnight. It says 15 students, but 2 adults. Now, how many males, females, do we have enough chaperones? I know I've asked this before, and I hate to sound like I'm a broken record, but it's our responsibility to make sure that we are providing enough chaperones for our students. And then also, how is this double occupancy, triple occupancy for the hotel rooms, for the kids? Things like that. I don't know if we need to put a policy into place. So when they do these overnights, it's just a form that's filled out that we have that information. But again, it's just our responsibility to make sure that we have enough adult supervision on an overnight. So I'm fine, supporting this, but if we can just get a point of clarification and make sure they have enough chaperones. And if they don't, then we just make sure there's enough chaperones. I mean, it could be 2 boys and, 13 girls. I mean, just so okay. Thank you.
All right, good point. And I think we'll get some clarification on that, and just to make sure. So we know that they're going on May 29th and 30th to New Hampshire for a competition. All right, good. Anything else? So you don't want to take that out of the
No, I just
agenda,
wanted a point of clarification. Again, when we see these overnights, it's our responsibility to make sure we have enough adult chaperones. And we should always have enough adult chaperones in place. We shouldn't put 15 students for 2 adults to have to oversee. But, I mean, it might be fine, but if we could just get a point of clarification, I'm supporting this, but if we just can get some clarification on that and make sure that they have what they need for the overnight.
Makes sense. All right, so anything else we want to take out of the agenda? No? Okay. Can I get a, go ahead, sir.
I would make a motion to vote on items A, C, D, E, on taking out item B.
Second.
A motion has been properly made in second. Mr. Pina.
Yes.
Let me say Zach.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
Yes.
Ms. Centello.
Yes.
Is Mr. Sullivan still on the phone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Is he a yes?
Yes. Said yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll read them into the record.
The motion carries, but go ahead, ma'am.
Item A is approval of accounts review subcommittee meeting minutes from April 28th, 2026. Item C is acceptance of donation to the Baker Elementary School. Item D is approval of the out-of-state field trip, Empower Yourself to Manchester, New Hampshire. And E is approval of a field trip, Brookfield Elementary School, grade 3 students to Duxbury, Massachusetts.
Mr. Rodriguez, you took B out.
Thank you.
Wanna-
This has been, on April 28th, we conducted a bid review subcommittee meeting. There was 2 items that was added for approval, so we did approve it in the bid review, but we need a full committee vote for its approval, which is the asbestos remediation contract and the HVAC maintenance and repair contract, which both were voted unanimous for approval for these services. So we're just looking for a motion to approve those 2 contracts.
Motion to approve a recommendation from the bid review subcommittee.
Seconded.
A motion has been properly made in second. Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Azak.
Yes.
Mr. Pina.
Yes.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
Yes.
Ms. Centello.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
yes,
Motion carries. All right. Numeral 5.
Roman numeral 5 is unfinished business. We have 2 items under there. Under unfinished business, discussion and potential vote, public hearing for the FY 26-27 school choice meeting from this evening, May 19th, 2026, and discussion and potential vote for the public hearing of the school budget, FY 2026-2027 meeting for May 19th, 2026.
I just have a question before Mr. Pina goes. What's the rationale in capping that number? I mean, we just saw a clear example of what allowing outside students to come into our school system does for both the community and the school as well. What was for the folks that were here before, what's the rationale in capping, for instance, the high school number at 50? Anybody know?
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I would assume that it's due to the amount that we receive based off of them transferring in to our school district. I believe it's 8,500 compared to the 22,000 that we get for Brockton students.
Right, but 8,000 is a lot better than 0,000. And when we are looking at a high school that we lost some students, to me, I'd rather have 100 8,000s versus 0,000s.
I agree completely, and I mean, that's just like when we talk about residency, I think that's just one of those things where we can take from other communities.
Why not?
Yeah, I agree. Don't you agree?
I agree. I mean, I wanted to basically uncap it in the sense and get 600 kids back if we can. At least we can go ahead and say, our numbers are way up, and then we can go advocate for additional funding from somewhere. So I just wanted to know what the rationale was. Go ahead, Mr.
I could defer that to Deputy Superintendent Sharon Walder, who can kind of give an overview, a history of why it's actually done
50.
better from.
So, good evening.
Clarification first.
Sure.
Did we vote on a cap, or just?
I believe that's
There
the
is a
policy.
cap.
Yeah, the
Oh, it's the
policy that
policy.
exists.
Okay,
So we
sorry,
could certainly
sorry.
revisit it, and we haven't opted out of it. So we're still in it
Right,
and can
okay,
revisit the
all right.
policy. Yes.
So originally, when we moved to include school choice, the cap was set based on class sizes. And so the enrollment at the high school was much higher. It was just Brockton High when we originally started it. And so it was based on class size and the ability to take in more students. And so that was the reason for it. Later on, the school committee voted to include Edison Academy in school choice. And so we do have Edison Academy also listed as one of our school choice locations. And again, it is always based on, do we have the appropriate staffing? Can the class sizes handle it? And where we can, then of course, we can obviously amend it, and we can bring that policy back before you to make whatever adjustments you wish.
Go ahead, Mr. Pena.
Yeah, I believe that when we have a situation or a school such as the BVLA or Promise or even Champion, that I think that we should max out. I don't think we should put a cap on it, and I hope that we can revisit that policy in the next policy review or policy subcommittee.
Did you want to chime
No,
in?
I agree with that. I was going to ask, far as obviously it's the will of the body of including the Promise High School as one of those school choice programs, because it's a phenomenal program there, which all of us have been in the building, so to support them as well. To
Go
assure.
ahead, Mr.
A question to the superintendent. I know that we had possibly discussed, or passing by discussed, is there a limit to the BVLA and how many students we can have in there? Is that something that DESI set? Can we, because I had that meeting with BVLA, and I understand the difference between the two types of virtual learning academies. But I'm just curious as to, are we able to increase that exponentially?
Well, we don't have a cap set by DESI, and so it is just a matter of the infrastructure we want to build and the number of educators and students. Right now, we definitely have enough educators for the students that are there, and if enrollment were to increase, we would then have corresponding staffing increases. One of the conversations, though, that I know we have had that DESI does regulate is that students from other districts actually can't choice into BVLA. And so that is the difference there, which is unfortunate. And that is what we have been advocating to DESI regarding, because again, it's a virtual learning academy. We can have students choice into Brockton High School from other places. So you would think that a virtual learning academy would allow that same opportunity, but they have very strict regulations that we're working to have them reconsider.
Yeah, and just for clarification for the public, this isn't like the COVID timeframe. It's much more structured. I believe that we've learned our lessons from COVID, and I think that when you look at it, and when you have a situation where kids don't get suspended, instead to go out of school, they get suspended and they have to come to school. So they're just some of those things that is kind of unique, and it would save the district, I think, a ton of on facilities, and we could look at expanding that to help with our facilities.
Mr. Gomes, do you want to say something, or you're good with that?
No, they've covered everything I was going to
Okay.
say.
I honestly think this is something that we ought to look into and perhaps put it on our next agenda to discuss. Because we've got all these other schools taking kids away from our system. And I think we ought to at least make it available out there, because I know a ton of kids that would love to come to Brockton High and participate in all the stuff. I mean, we saw, again, I'm going to go back to the plate. We saw what the potential of our school system is, and our administration, our teachers. And this is something that we ought to advocate for loudly, so we can, take the students that want to come into our system as quickly as we possibly can. I would like to entertain a motion that we vote on the school choice that was actually discussed earlier today.
Make a motion to approve the discussion on the public hearing of the school choice meeting.
Second.
A motion has been properly made in second. Mr. Pina?
Yes.
Ms. Azak?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
Ms. Centeo?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Awesome. Motion carries. Next item, ma'am.
So the next item is discussion and potential vote on the public hearing regarding the school budget for FY 2026, FY 2027 that we had this evening, May 19th, 2026.
All right. Mr. Gomes?
As you all are aware, earlier we had our finance subcommittee meeting, and we also had our public hearing for the school budget. The school committee did approve and recommended a budget to the full committee for both net school spending and non-net school spending. And also we had the public hearing. No visitors had signed in, and no one was here to speak on behalf of that. I don't know if we should finish that presentation, or we should take the...
I think we're sitting here, we heard it loudly. The motion is going back and forth, and if there's any other discussions, we'll go right to the vote. Yes, ma'am.
So my question, with all due respect, is trying to find out why did you end up doing the same thing that the old mayor did to us?
I didn't do it.
You put a budget in already without considering what we wanted.
Well, Ms. Oliver, as the mayor of the entire city, whose job it is to balance the books of the entire city, including the schools, including the police, including the fire, what we set forth is what the city can afford to do. And we basically made it very clear that based on our numbers, that's what the city can afford to do. I am not going to lay off police officers and firefighters and DPW. I'm not going to cut back on the roads that we need to fix in this community so that we can present a number that would be a number that you folks wanted to present. I'm going to present a number that we can afford. I'm not going to write checks that our body can't cash. So what we can afford to do is what we presented, and we made it very clear to the superintendent. As a matter of fact, I actually even found an additional $800 and something thousand that we put on top of the numbers that had been presented. Instead of cutting, we actually were able to put additional funding in it. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to support a $255 million budget that I do not have.
So what is our job here then? Our job is here to, let me finish what I have to say before my thought goes somewhere. But it's okay that we're basically taking educators out of the classroom, right? We continue to do that. The school continued to do that years after years. We're the only one laying off educators. You ran that you would not do that, what Rob did 2 years before, and it happened again. What I'm asking, as we are elected officials that we have put here, also defend every fund that's supposed to educate our students, is to have a little bit of respect. Do not do things behind our back. Just tell us exactly what's going to happen, because you guys already made a decision with the CFO, and we're here having a budget. You know, we're not home with our family. We're here. We're fighting for our educators. We're fighting for our students. And there's a budget already at the City Hall. What I'm asking is a little bit of consideration and respect for our job and our role. And it's happened twice. Just to have a common decency to basically have a conversation with us and not have a CFO that tells a number on April 7th and then says something else on April 30th. And now we're letting all these educators and administrators gone. And how are we supposed to educate our students when we are basically going to increase the class size and they're going to leave, parents are going to leave because now the SPED department is going to be in risk? All I'm asking is respect. And if you guys are asking about respect back and forth, it goes two ways. And I have not seen respect in 3 years that I've been here on that side. That's all I have to say. You ran on a promise that you were not going to mess with the school education funds, and guess what? It happened.
I did not mess with the school education funds. I don't know if you recall that I said I've been here 4 months and 14 days and 10 hours.
You've been an elected official longer than me.
No, but
For years.
Yeah, but you know what? I've been on dealing with the city council budget to deal with, and usually that actually happens. It lands in our lap for us to decide what happens on that. But now, believe it or not, we have to govern. And we have to govern. I was here in 1990 as a young person in this community when we had to decimate the school budget. We had to decimate police and fire and everything else. Hopefully that will never happen again, but what you were told, I'm not defending anybody, what you were told shouldn't have been said in terms of presenting numbers early on that we didn't have concretely. What you're being told now is that healthcare costs went up, our pension obligations went up, and we are basically dealing with the cost that we can deal with. I'm telling you, we cut $20 million out of the city side of things, and we didn't cut $20 million on the school side of things. I personally, my own office, we're cutting around 15% of what I found there. You know, we're going to do what we can to build this budget and survive this year. I can promise you next year we will not be talking about this lack of respect that you're talking about, because as the year rolls by, we're going to tell you concretely what the numbers are going to be. Now, it's up to us adults in the room to decide what we can afford or we can't afford. What I can tell you is our taxpayers are fed up with paying more for everything in this community. But unfortunately, I, as the chief executive officer of this city, have to deal with all sides of this city, including the schools. You know, we have to deal with the trash barrels that are the costs that are going up, as well as some of the other services that are going up. But I have to deal with everything, not just the schools, not just the police, not the fire, but we can only write checks that our body can cash. And right now, I'm telling you, and I'm telling everybody, that we cannot afford a budget of $255 million. And let me tell you how that whole thing worked in the past. In the past, the school department or the school school committee would recommend a budget to the city. And then the mayor would basically forward that recommendation to the city council. But the mayor himself would actually have a recommendation of the school budget. That's what we do with all the departments in City Hall. The police department will say, I need X, Y, and Z numbers to operate. Then the mayor will basically recommend his budget for the police department. And that recommendation will go to the city council for cuts. That's how it's always been. And that's how it's the way it's going to be next year, because you said, what is the function of the school committee? The school committee is to make a recommendation to the guy, in this case, me, who has to find the money to operate the school system. That's how it is. You make a recommendation, and then I take your recommendation, but I put it into numbers that are actually concrete numbers and forward that number to the city council for their final vote. That's how it operates. So
That's
you
not
do have
even
a
being
function.
allowed, though.
What is
That's
it?
not even being allowed. We're not even being allowed to recommend any numbers.
Well, you recommended 255.
You didn't even allow us to recommend it weeks ago. It's already been set forward.
I did not say to you that you couldn't recommend numbers. Did I say that?
I don't think you understand what's going on, but I really feel sorry. And that's why I voted no to all the educators to lose their job. And it's unfair that years after years, the school's the one that gets to basically lay off hundreds of educators. I'm heartbroken about it. I think it's disgusting that this is happening. And every time the school, you might have cut a budget, but nobody's being laid off on your side.
Are you sure?
I want to see the proof.
Are you sure?
Okay, I want to see data. I want to see spreadsheet. And
Are
the
you
same
sure?
thing with the 5% increase that I still have not got from the CFO. I'm requesting that.
You will get it. But what I'm telling you right now.
Not when I'm dead and gone. I want it in the next few
you'll see
weeks.
it. You'll see it because the budget will go up in front of the city council next week, and you'll see those numbers. I'm going to tell you that we had to cut $20 million on the city side of things to balance the books, and that's how it is. Now, if you sit here and you want me to go lay off some police officers, some firefighters, please let me know how you're going to communicate that with them, and we'll do it. If that's how you want to do it, that's fine. But I'm just telling you that we can only check. It's not that they don't matter, but unfortunately, some of us have to be responsible for everybody. Not just educators. We have to be responsible for everybody. Right now, I've been spending my every breathing energy to try to get this high school built.
Don't hold that against us.
No, I'm holding it against me. I'm holding it against me because that's what I want done. But I also want to make sure that we can run a city, because what's the sense of doing some of the things that we're going to do if we don't have the ability to run a city, you know? And then you're going to hear from the taxpayers who are actually paying the bill why their streets look the way they are, or why they can't get police or fire the way they're. Unfortunately, that's what my responsibility is, and I'm going to continue to do it. But I'm going to tell you right now and right here for everybody to see that I'm only going to be able to write checks that my body can cash. And right now, I can't cash $255. If somebody else can do it, great. But I can only do what I can do. Go ahead, Mr. P.
Through the chair, I will tell you that I will not be voting for the 255. I think it's irresponsible for us as a body to do so. I will add that where the consternation comes in is, first, please, when you say that you're going to lay off firefighters, policemen, please also say that we have to lay off teachers, paraprofessionals, administrators. Just don't dehumanize them, and just make sure that, and it's part of our business, and I get that. But where we where we have the issue is that, we have the Schedule 19, the circuit breaker, the Medicaid reimbursement, all these things that we're just not getting the information on. And I get that I've been here as long as you have in this current session, and I get that. And I wish that things worked a lot faster and just more efficiently, I'll say. I would just ask that after this budget process is done, and that we can all sit down, have an open discussion, and we call it an AAR in the military, after action review, to figure out how we can make this process better, how we can bring more transparency in for the public to see, and to be able to sit down like adults and just have these conversations without going back and forth with each other. Because I really do think that once we look at the Schedule 19 and everything else, I think we just need to know where everything's coming from. We just don't know that right now. We're given percentages, and that's just really difficult for anybody that has any inkling of understanding of what numbers is, what accounting is to just say, hey, I'm just going to raise it 5%. That just rubs us the wrong way. I get what you have to do. I get that we recommend a budget to you. I also understand that DESE, and I know you understand that DESE says that this is the amount of money that we have to spend. So my concern is that even if we put forward, and if it's approved, this 251, what ends up happening is the city's going to be forced to give us that money midway through. And then what's going to end up happening is we're not going to be able to hire the teachers that we need to hire. So that's just more openness. And I get you got to balance the budget. I just hope that we can. I asked for a joint committee on finance with the city and the schools, and whether it's account review or finance. I just really think that it's something that we should look at, and I hope that that we as a body can get along when it comes to that and move forward.
No, I agree. And one of the things that I spoke with the superintendent and actually Kim Sow and not too long ago is that once this budget is done and over with, we're going to start having regular meetings to basically look at the overall thing, along with the CFO and his people down there, to figure out exactly, how this thing is moving forward. What are some of the things that we're going to be looking into? I mean, we had a meeting today with OIG, and this stuff came up. And again, it's not just Brockton. This is happening throughout the systems where, our numbers don't come out when it's supposed to, because the state actually do not provide you those numbers on a timely manner. So they basically provide you these numbers halfway through the year, and you don't have anything to go one way or the other. So these are some of the things that he basically is going to advocate for us as well, as a city and as part of the Gateway City group, that we can probably improve on this process as we go along as well. But everybody is basically on the same boat in terms of these, these numbers that are, not real numbers. There are some numbers that are, supposedly you're going to get this, but the state doesn't get its budget done until at the end of the fiscal year, basically, as well. So that's the boat that we're in. Can we manage it a little bit better? Of course we can. And we're going to try to do that. And I think the idea of a joint committee to basically look at between the city council, the school committee, to kind of hash out these things ahead of time, so when February rolls by, March rolls by, we know exactly where we are. And again, what you said about the teachers, listen, I've been a supporter of this school. I grew up in this school, and every chance I have to say thank you to our teachers for the work that they do with our kids that they do, I do. But unfortunately, one of the things that actually ended up happening this year, we are going to hold off on hiring firefighters. We are going to hold off on hiring police, because everybody is basically feeling the pinch. I mean, what's going on in New Bedford and some of these other communities. A lot of the communities around us are actually upside down in their system. Whitman is on the same boat. Middleborough is in the same boat, And we'll try to manage what we have in hopes that we can get additional funding down the pipe so we can actually kind of resolve some of the issues that we're having. But this pinch is taking place on just about every department out there. We're basically positions that are in the books that we can survive without, we're going without. We're basically, like I said, we're holding off, hiring additional firefighters until the situation gets a little bit better. do I want to lay off any teachers? And that's like I said the last time that we met. If I had a safe at City Hall with millions and millions of dollars, do you honestly think that I would not go out and hire the teachers or hire the school staff that we need to? It makes me look pretty lousy as well as the chair of this committee or as the mayor of the city. So I don't take any pride in the fact that we're in the situation that we're in. Communication has to be better, though, you know, and I have already addressed those issues, and we're going to continue to address those issues so that next year when we come around, we're not in that same situation. Good?
Not good, but okay, keep moving.
Go ahead, Mr. Gomes.
Thank you. I share some of the frustration of this committee, and I'll echo some of the things that Mr. Payne also mentioned. I think if we had more, this word, transparency, especially regarding our numbers, even though the numbers are lower than what we anticipated, we could have had a better discussion. I think we all would agree with that. If we had numbers early on, or at least saying from the get-go, we don't have it. You know, we had a couple of meetings prior to when we found out we wouldn't have the amount that was presented, so that threw us off, to be honest. And yes, we keep going back. It brings us back to back when things were just happening and numbers were not circulating the way they're supposed to, and then we see a number in front of us and we vote for the city council. Now, I'm gonna ask you a few lists of questions, straight questions, and I just expect a few straight answers. I know the recommendation from the subcommittee to this committee is for 255, which we're gonna vote on in a little bit. Is the number gonna be presented to the city council? I know you're gonna have your recommendation as to what city can afford.
I will make, when I make my piece to the city council, I'm going to say that the school committee recommended 255.
And the superintendent is going to have the opportunity to come and elaborate on our budget.
Well, the superintendent will come to the budget hearing as well, but I'm also going to say that my recommendation is not 255.
Which is completely fine. I understand. I mean, it's just like the superintendent recommending things to us.
Because imagine if all of a sudden I say, you recommended 255, and the city council goes, okay. Now, who is going to go get the $3 million to basically balance those books?
That I understand. The only pieces which I felt was a disservice 2 years ago is the budget that we voted, what was presented to city council, had already been submitted as the final.
I got you.
So the number that we vote tonight, whether the city can afford it or not, should make it to the city council. But you can say your recommendation. This is what we can afford. But I guess this committee is
no, I'm going to say that, I was at the city council meeting, at the school committee meeting, and the school committee recommended or took a vote to recommend 255.
Okay.
But I, as the guy that actually has to cut the check, my recommendation is the numbers that we actually have.
Okay, and that's your recommendation. But,
numbers that we can afford.
Yes, I agree. We need to have these conversations, and I know you have a CFO and, we have a lot of back and forth, but we need to be honest.
No, we've addressed this, and we're going to take care of this moving forward. I guarantee you that much.
Okay. And I'll guarantee it to all of us. So
I guarantee you all that much.
That moving forward, we should see more transparency and honesty with our numbers. Okay. That's all I have to share.
Use. Go ahead, man.
Thank you. So my colleagues have already touched base on some of the items I wanted to reference. All I'm asking is, I'm not going to sit and repeat. Those that watched the budget meeting earlier already heard most of us talk. Chair, I understand the situation you're in. All I ask is our superintendent, who we oversee, can only do her job to a certain point, and we can only do our job to a certain point. All I ask is, we've had multiple emails, multiple requests, that if we can just finally get the Schedule 19 and other documentation that she has requested. What I brought up earlier, and I'm not sure if you were watching, is if I have someone requesting stuff from us, we have expectations for our superintendent. If she's not getting the requests, then she needs to come back to us and go to the person that's overseeing that department that's not providing her the information. We as a body I have expectations of her. I've seen the paper trails. You've seen the paper trails. All I ask is, it's been going on for way too long. Moving forward, if we can just get the information that this committee needs so we can move forward and make the decisions that we have to make. Without the information that we have, sometimes we're not able to do our job to the fullest when we're limited with the info. So I'm just asking the chair/mayor if you can just make sure that our superintendent, who we oversee, gets us the information that she's been requesting. And I'm sure you will, because I'm looking right at you, and I'm sure you will. But I just wanted it to be put on the record that we're asking. You weren't at the other finance meeting that we had, but this is the school committee meeting where you are at. So I just wanted
No, I agree. I
be requested.
agree. We
And I
should
know you do. I know you
We should
do.
know by the beginning of the year where we stand.
I'm talking about Schedule 19, Chair. Schedule
too.
19 and everything.
Everything.
Because we've been asking for, not just this year, it's your previous administration. So it's not just now. We have been asking prior to your administration in 2026. So we just want this information. She shouldn't have to ask more than twice. Twice is one more than it should be, but more than twice, we get it. People are busy and things take time, but it shouldn't take, we haven't really had a clear picture. And I think that's where a lot of our frustration is not having the tools we need to make these decisions. These decisions that really affect a lot of people. You're in the same situation with the city. Our decisions do affect many of our constituents, many of our citizens, and our staff. So if we can just make sure moving forward, she gets the information she needs to provide to us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we know that it's not about not caring for one group versus another group. You know, I mean, it's, again, we care to 100% of the population in this community and the 100% of the workers in this community. You know, it's the teachers, it's the firefighters, it's the police, it's the DPW people, it's everybody that we need to care about everyone. Because again, I'm going to bring the school back up again. We're going to ask the taxpayers that we all care about to vote on this particular ask that we're going to do for this new high school. And we want to make sure that they too are taken into consideration, because if they see us caring for one side and not necessarily for the entire city, we could run into some problems. So that's why I want to make sure that, again, we care about everybody. And it pains me that we have to lay one soul off, you know, but it has to be done in order for us to progress, in order for us to balance the books, in order for us to stand where we need to stand moving forward. Yes, ma'am.
And I do just want to reiterate that, because I think that your interests are the same as all of ours. I think we all want the entire community to flourish, and I think what we just want is I think we would actually be helpful in having that conversation and making those decisions with the data in front of us. At this point, it ends up being adversarial, which I don't think it needs to be. I think all of us want firefighters and police, like all of those things, and I think we can all make informed decisions if we have the data in front of us. I know that at our Thursday meeting, I did reiterate the request for the $4.6 million for transportation. I was asked by the CFO to provide the backup documentation. I have already provided that backup documentation. I provided the projections that have done by my team, and separate projections that came up with the same numbers that were done by the Open Architects team. So I've already provided that data, and it was asked for on Thursday. And so I am just asking, we try to be very responsive, you know that we do, on our team, and we just want that same kind of dialogue, that when we ask for something, that we get it, and we don't get, oh, well, I'll have to get clearance from this person or this, this should be information that we all share with each other. And I know I've said this to you in meetings and you have totally agreed, but I just want to say that I've said this also to the committee, and we definitely do our part. We provide our data as quickly as we can, and I'm just asking for the same from your team. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you. Just trying to frame this. Mayor, doesn't it bother you that you're newly elected, and we're dealing with the same issue today that we dealt with last year and the year before and the year before. But there's a new administration on the school side, your new administration, and we still continue this, and you gotta ask why. Is it the mayor, or is the newly elected mayor going along with how the finance is being projected year after year? And we sat in a meeting regarding the high school project, and you heard it directly, and the superintendent was there, from Mr. Cronin himself, tell our CFO he needs to stop. And it doesn't seem that he's going to. It's going in one ear and out the other, or he just doesn't understand. And that's why this body and certain members get frustrated, because the truth is not coming out. The numbers are the numbers. We are not disputing that. But, we talk, the Schedule 19. Some people are like, what is this Schedule 19? But Desi indicated, superintendent, correct me if I'm wrong, that before there's even an agreement, they're involved in this conversation before that methodology is even approved to move forward. So we can pick it apart, for transparency, because, there's this public perception out there that the problem with the city when it comes to finances, even though you had some hiccups, it's the school department. It's this, when in actuality it's not. And it goes so much because, we've had this conversation. There's certain city boards that stop the city from growing financially. And I think they need to be educated on the impact of the decisions that they make that cost us, which goes to the schools. It goes to hiring firefighters and police officers across the board. They need to realize that. And we knew this was coming. You were in those meetings as well as I was, and it wasn't a pleasant meeting. And it's not going to look pretty next year. And I'm all about supporting whatever we can do on the district side with the school side. I got to the point where I was just, and the superintendent knows, I've seen her frustration, because we were in a lot of those meetings of like, no. And if we have the ability to help the city out, I will support that. But it comes to a point that we've done everything to support the city. And this is one of the reasons why I was totally against what it was. And then we basically say, thank you, but here you go. That's what's happening. And we just have to do a better job of making sure that our numbers, it still bothers me that we have all these consultants and the numbers are not accurate, and it only relies on one individual. I will publicly state it. Something needs to give, and this body doesn't have the authority, and we try to hold accountability. Somebody has to hold accountability at this point, because I'm not, even though I support the budget that this committee is going to move forward with, but it's happened over and over, and I indicated this in the last finance subcommittee meeting, with overcharges of 4.3, 5.3 the following year, 5 points. It just keeps happening, and I'm like, hold on. We just went through this whole fiasco with our budget. This is the reason why Open Architects is here, and we're scrambling at the last, like, what is the number? Oh, it's this number, it's that number. It's like we're sitting here playing Keno to figure out what number's going to come out for us to put an accurate budget together. So I'm going to always lobby for the school district as I'm elected to, but a level of accountability that conversation needs to have, because this is not the way that we're going to fix Brockton. This is not the way, and we have a magnitude of a high school project, and we're going to have to be able to sell that to the voters, that we desperately need it, and whatever we have to do to make sure that it has to happen. That high school has to happen, but at the same token, it's not just the high school. We have all of our middle schools and schools that are old and depleted. Where's the funds coming from to address those? Which indicated in the meeting, but, we're gonna build a beautiful building, and yet we can't properly staff it to educate our students. What justice does that do? So I think you as the mayor need to be, and I know you are, to make sure that BPS is at the top of the list, including our public safety. Other areas have to give. And I know through our meetings that we've had, that board needs to realize what they have done, because those are discussions that happen in those high-level meetings with the state. So I hope that those conversations are had and they can see the implications that they cost us, because they played a great part in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
It was the recommendation, it passed favorably to approve and recommend a net school spending of $255,525,806 and a non-net of, Superintendent?
You got to do them separate.
Separately? Okay. Well,
Even my 4 months knows that.
all right.
Second.
Show up. There's a second.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Second.
All right, Mr. Pina.
No.
Ms. Azak.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
Yes.
Ms. Centeo.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Now, let's do the non-net.
Similarly, we had a favorable vote to approve and recommend the non-net of, let me just get the number right. I didn't write that one down.
Yes, 24,422,667.
As stated.
Just round it up to 25.
Should I
Yeah,
just
right.
have you want me to just to collapse or have a heart attack? Is that what the deal is? Can somebody second that?
Second.
All right, a motion has been properly made in second. Mr. Pina,
On the motion.
on the motion.
Superintendent, what is the implications for non-net if it's not fully funded to the 24 million?
We'll have to make some difficult decisions similar to the ones we've had to make with the net school spending side of the budget. So as you know, there are 4 items that are our non-net school spending request. Community schools, the Adult Learning Center, transportation, and traffic duty. So we were able to cut some of the budget already. That is shown in the budget that you received. So for community schools, we were able to create some cost savings there. But the Adult Learning Center we're level funding it, and for transportation, we want to fully fund it this year. And by fully funding, I mean also making sure that we're implementing a replacement plan, a maintenance plan, the things that had not been accounted for before. So traffic duty last year, we had requested $700,000. This year, we're also requesting $700,000, and our goal is to build in some efficiencies with our traffic duty. For transportation for FY26, as you know, we requested $14.9 million, and this year we're requesting $22.7 million. For the Adult Learning Center, last year it was $240,000. This year it would be $250,000 because of increases that we need to make. And then community schools last year was 1.145, and for FY27 it's 722,580. So, and if you go to your budget detail, it shows where we made some cuts for community schools. That being said, all of that adds up to the 24 million. So if we did not get that, we need to make additional cuts, and some of the decisions that we will need to make are what is most important. To that point about what is discretionary, I think that's when we have to have those conversations. So for example, transportation, we don't have a lot of room. We've implemented a lot of cost savings. I think we'll continue to do so as we invest in new vehicles, or more efficient vehicles, smaller vehicles. But we may have to reconsider high school transportation. So that is a place where maybe we have to make cuts. Community schools, that's another area where we may need to look at the summer programming, and so those were some of the things that I had presented on last time. It's really hard to know until we know what the city council is going to approve. Because what they have put forward, as you know, is, I believe, 18 million in non-net.
So 18 million, so we won't know this until the first week of June, and now we have families that are counting on community schools for summer programs that are going to basically be told that these programs are going to be non-existent for this summer. All right, thank you.
So you said that last year you spent 14.9 million in transportation?
No, we not spent. That was what the city allocated to us. That's why we've put in an additional request of $4.6 million, so that the full transportation spending is projected to be 19.5.
19.5. Okay.
Just one follow-up real quick. So the public knows, if it comes to a point that we have to cut high school transportation, that means the charter schools and every high school within the city is going to be affected. They will not get transportation. And I know that's a tough decision to make, but I worry about that if it does come to that, because our student enrollment's going to drop. Dropout rates are and you're going to have problem with attendance. So hopefully the counterparts on the other side are listening.
Again, I just want to make sure that we're clear about this. It's not that they're not listening. It's just that we do not have a place to get it. Go ahead, Ms. Oliver.
So just for clarification, the 4.6 million is what they have to pay us back because we did not get the full amount last year, right?
That's correct. That is for FY26. So that's why for FY27, we're making the full amount request now.
Because no matter what, if we don't get the full amount, the city has to give us what we're going to need anyway to fully fund the non-net. And the 4.6, just for clarification, he wanted what information exactly? Because I think last meeting he was basically trying to state that he does not owe that money to us.
No, I think that was the net school spending carryover from last year. I thought that, but I would have to go back and check what we were talking about at that moment. I thought
there was too many things going on at the same time. Like money.
I think we were talking about the 5.8 net school spending carryover that is still owed to us this year. But again, that can't be used for non-net expenses.
So and that amount still has not come, right?
Correct.
And the 4.6 is what you just gave information that he requested in a very timely manner. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
I love when you do that. Sorry you can't get that backwards. But yeah, which me and Mr. Rodriguez was the only one that voted against it with the 17 because I knew that was going to happen. But eventually it's going to have to, the city's going to have to figure out because we have to transport our kids.
No, the city doesn't have to figure out. We have to figure it out.
I'm also a taxpayer, so
That's what I'm
I
saying.
understand that. But we have to transport our kids, right? And like Mr. Rodriguez saying, we would basically, the rest of the school and high school will not have a transportation. And a lot of our students do travel far. And we do need transportation for our students.
Ms. Oliver, I am not going to bankrupt the city. If we need to make some cuts, we're going to have to make some cuts. I'm not going to bankrupt the city.
Well, I hope we get the 4.6 eventually. If not, we'll see what this body has power to get it back.
I don't know that other than voting here, what you can vote for, what the power is going to do over the taxpayers of this community. So if you're willing to go out and put together an override to override the taxes of the taxpayers in this community, that's your prerogative. But I don't know what the power of this committee has over the taxpayers in this community. So,
well, I think that the taxpayers need a better CFO in the city at this point.
Listen, everything is on the table, and we're going to discuss these things as we go along, but I'm not going to sit here and go into personnel issues. We're not going to talk about that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Go ahead, Ms. Sante.
Superintendent, can we go back to the community schools? I think Member Rodriguez had a good point. So if we're not going, I think during a previous meeting, we talked about, is this a program that we should be giving back to the city? Am I correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, since we have you here, I'm not sure if that conversation has been happening behind closed doors of how we can either support your team with taking over the community school, because if we don't have the funds to do it.
I think there's been actually discussion of taking the entire non-net budget over, and let the city figure out exactly how to transport the children, and let them figure out exactly how to deal with the community schools and all the non-net spending, so that the school and the school committee can focus on just on the net side of things. But that also means that the city would negotiate the contracts of the non-net contracts, including the bus drivers, including the buses and everything else. There has been some discussion over that, because there's some on the city side that feel that they're not part of the negotiation of those contracts to begin with, and they're being asked to pay the bill. So if they're going to be asked to pay the bill, perhaps they should have a say in what happens in those contracts as well. But again, as I said, everything will be on the table as we move forward beyond this budget. First, I need to get a budget passed so we can get a budget passed and get the city moving, because if July 1st comes and we don't have a budget, the city doesn't move, and then we don't have to worry about teachers not being paid. We have to worry about the entire city not being paid. But these are discussions that we're going to have, because you know what? All indications indicate that things aren't going to get any better, with the finances of this state the way we are. The communities, especially these gateway cities, are not being funded as they should, and these are discussions that we're going to have moving forward. But everything is on the table. Ms. Azak.
Thank you. Superintendent, for those that are watching that probably haven't seen any updates on our transportation costs, this transportation cost may seem high for some people listening, but actually outsourcing it was much higher. So keeping our transportation in-house is actually saving us money. So I just wanted her to just, can you just clarify that for those that are watching thinking, 14, like, get rid of the buses.
Yes.
But actually we looked into it, and it's actually saving us money keeping them in-house. If you can just reiterate what you presented to us, just so they know that this is actually lower having in-house. And if we did not have in-house, our transportation would be much higher.
Yes, absolutely. So we did put it out to bid twice. And so we revised the bid this year to even make it more flexible and to encourage more bidders. And yes, it was much more expensive.
Correct.
And I will be honest, since I've been here, because I was not part of the decision-making, that I wouldn't say skeptical, I was curious about what it would be. And wanted to make sure that we had kept all our options open. And I will say that now in retrospect, I maybe we maybe should have taken a slower path, or could have planned things out a little bit better. But overall, it has been a huge saver. And even in the areas where it seems like we were overspending when we could have had more efficiencies, those overspending amounts are still less than what we were quoted. So now it is very clear to me that this was the right decision. I think we could have, again, hindsight is 20/20, and perhaps we could have gone about it differently. But I think, yes, we're officially doing this now, and so I think it's a good idea for us to just continue to do it more efficiently. And I think it also now makes more sense to me, definitely, because we've seen other school districts who are bringing it in-house, and this is really why, because it is becoming so expensive otherwise.
No, definitely. I just wanted you to just clarify that for those that are watching. Sometimes you'll get the keyboard warriors. We'll get rid of transportation. It's actually saving us money. And I remember when this first was rolled out, it was never going to be an immediate fix. They, I think it was 5 or 6 years before we actually started noticing the difference. And I believe that's what was presented to us back then. Again, we've had to tweak things, but I think we're on the right path, especially seeing the numbers. It was definitely eye-opening seeing, again, Brockton has always been a leader with other districts, and we go to these conferences and everyone is in awe. They're all like, a handful of buses, and we're like, oh, we have this amount. And, they look at Brockton because we stepped up and started it. It may not have started the way it should have, but I think we're on the right path. And thank you for clarifying that. That way those that are watching can realize that this might sound like a high number, but I think it was almost double. It was in the high 20s, I believe.
39. Oh, when?
Yeah.
For the bids?
No,
Or
yeah,
for-
the ones that were coming in, they
wasn't it like 39?
Yeah, they were high. They were high. So just,
And that wasn't just one. We had to piece vendors together to do all the
it
transportation.
was more than double of what we have allocated right here.
Yes. And also, again, this is a statewide problem, and we are continuing to try and be part of the conversations and part of the solutions, because we know that the circuit breaker reimbursement is not appropriate. It shouldn't be after the fact. It should be before. It should be, it shouldn't be like we should be fighting for 60, 75%. It should be a greater reimbursement. And we actually just participated last week in the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has commissioned the Collins Center to do a research study as a response to the IG's recent report on transportation. So what they are doing is they're talking to districts about what our practices are. And I will say that, our team met with them and answered their questions. And there were actually some promising practices that we talked about that we have implemented that they even said, oh, no other district is doing that. And so there are some things that we have put into place to save funds and to create efficiencies in transportation that they will be able to put in their report that other districts can benefit from that knowledge. And we look forward to doing the same and hearing what other districts are doing so we can just make it better. But yes, I would say that we are getting more efficient. We're getting better at it. We have more improvements coming. That being said, if the city does want to take over transportation, I'm not saying that I'm opposed to that. So I'm
might
open to this.
happen.
I'm open to this conversation.
and one
do it
last,
better.
One last comment. So when we talk about community schools, we've mentioned this before. A lot of families depend on this for the summer programs for their kids. Is there a way that we can actually identify if we had to cut, where we would cut to at least give, and I don't want to get the families in a frenzy, but give them time to prepare for childcare services or alternative, things. Parents rely on us, and it's really difficult with the parents, some of them that are working full-time, that they need to know ahead of time. So it's going to really impact them. If there's a way that, if we already know, and we can probably revisit it.
No, I actually talked about it on the 12th. Some of the programs that we may have to forego that would give us $625,000 savings that Dr. DeBarros gave to me would be Act 1, Scene 1, Adult Aquatics, Get Ready, Junior Boxer Camp, Mini Day Fun Camp, Youth Aquatics, Activity Adventure Camp, and Raise Up Basketball. Again, we don't want to start a frenzy until we know, which is why I haven't put this on like a presentation, because we are hoping we might get some better indication. That being said, as soon as we know, we will certainly let everybody know. But yes, these are potentially the programs that we would start the conversation with.
So just a quick question. So where this is community schools, and it's a lot of our kids, not just students, it's just kids within Brockton. Is it something when it comes to, are there any restrictions? What if we tried to look for sponsorships? There's plenty of companies that want to sponsor. Look for some type of a sponsorship to see if they can help. Even if we can get 100,000, people are very generous when it comes to the kids. They really are, and we really need to look into sponsorships and help them. They're promoting their businesses, but they're also helping out our students. And maybe that could be something that we can look into. I know we have a lot of big businesses that really do step up when we need something. Just to offset a little bit, if this is the route we're going to have to take for this year, where it's so short notice, and it gives the families an opportunity for next year. You know, next year we'll be in a different situation, hopefully, but I just feel bad with the short notice on this one program. Just to allow the families, or at least put some kind of a notice, you know, that way they're not registering for it in their mind, they're set in stone, and then last minute we tell them, oh, the program got cut.
I completely agree. And actually, I think this would be a great time to ask that question, because I will say that in the time that I have been here, we have not been able to put forward a non-net projection or request. It has been given to us. So I guess my question would be to you, because you mentioned that you put forward something and that there's a process. Now, what I'm recommending, and what if the committee, the subcommittee voted favorably for it, I guess my question would be, when do we know how that fits into the greater picture so that we can make those decisions?
Well, I think you know it, you know, once the city council goes through the process and votes on whatever numbers they vote in. But I just wanted to touch base on something here that, you know, when Member Azak brought this up, I remember when we first got those buses, and Tony, you can help me with this. Those buses generated over $1 million worth of rental. Over $1 million the first year that we had those buses. And there's very little effort in this city to rent those buses. And I'm going to say that because I took part on the Cancer Walk this weekend, and we had buses there from Foxborough Regional High, first student going back and forth to the high school to transport walkers that actually took part on the walk, on the Cancer Walk. Now, we have 100 and something buses. Why aren't our buses being
I can tell
used
you
for that?
exactly why. Because we have to worry about the maintenance and the wear and tear. So we were doing it before, and we have made a conscientious decision not to do it as much because we didn't have a maintenance plan budgeted. And so that's why it is important for us to know what is the maintenance plan that we're budgeting in the future, because if we were to know that, I think we would feel more comfortable, because our first priority does need to be getting students to and from schools, not necessarily
Madam Superintendent,
charter.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, these are tough times, and we are having tough times making ends meet. And we're talking about cutting programs that people rely on for summer programs. I'm sure we could use 10, 20 buses to do some of these things and bring revenue into this community. I stood by at Brockton Hospital watching these buses go back and forth, and my whole thing is, even for promotional purposes, why aren't our buses doing that? I'm not saying get the whole fleet involved, but we got to be creative enough. Everybody, if the buses break, then we can say, you know what, we're not transporting kids because the bus is broke. But we can't sit here and say we're not going to put any buses on the road because, you know, these buses might break. They break, they break. I mean, we might come back and have to say, you know what, we're not transporting high school kids because we can't afford to do that. You know, New Bedford shut down an entire fire station because they can't afford to do it. These are real problems that are happening in the communities. But what I'm saying is that we have to think outside the box and figure out exactly, you know, do we cut $300,000-$400,000 from a program, or do we find something that can afford a bigger hit to cut? You know, we got to be smart about it in the sense that, you know, when we go through the season, if I can come up with $300,000 here and there, we can plug that in. It's easier to plug in $300,000 than it would be to plug in $3 million.
And I fully appreciate that. I think my question would be is that I would need to, again, see those numbers, because if you're saying that the first year it gained $1 million, then why did it go over budget so much? I need to see the numbers. I fully appreciate the theory, but I want to see numbers first. And I need a replacement plan first. I appreciate that, yeah, we can let the bus break and then fix it after, but no, we have to get students to school. That is not how I think we should be planning, so I will have to respectfully disagree on that point. But again, and also remember, it doesn't come at no cost. We still have to pay bus drivers, we still have to, and even when I came here, I was actually going after certain folks who had rented those charters, and I'm the one calling them and asking them to give us the check they owe us, right? So it's like, these are the things that then come with renting buses. And so, not only do we maybe not want to be in the transportation business, and now we are, but then I think we need to think very deeply about, do we also want to be in the renting out and chartering buses business? I'm not saying that we don't, because I agree with you, we need to think outside the box, but I don't have data and proof to show that that was a profitable endeavor, because if it had been, then we wouldn't have gone over budget by so much and needed the city to
We did a
bail
lot
us
of
out.
crazy things back in those days, but
Well,
that's what
but
they
that,
told
I'm not
us.
doing, and that's what I mean, I'm not doing crazy things. I need numbers, I need data before we make decisions. That's the only way I'm going to feel comfortable.
Yeah, what, Mr.
I mean, I do agree with you, Mayor. Any way that we can generate revenue through our bus services, I truly support it 100%. But the other piece, too, is thank you to some folks in the transportation. I don't actually have the language, but there's strict laws on how municipalities charter their buses if we have a bus fleet, so we can't operate as taxi service. So there's certain ways that, well, we can't just lease it out to rent it out for somebody to host a wedding or certain things. So there's specifics to that. That was brought to my attention when we were, actually reviewing the transportation contract with the bid. So, but we do need to take a look at that to see how revenue can be generated through it. By all means, and we know what we're dealing with financially. So, whatever we can do to make money, we have to do it.
All right, let's vote on the second one. And now I forgot, was a motion was made in second? Mr. Pina?
No.
Ms. Azak?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Gomes?
Yes.
Ms. Centello?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
All right, the motion was made and passed. All right, next item, please. New business.
Yes, Roman numeral 6. Oh, Roman numeral 6, new business.
Any new business? Okay, good. Numeral 7.
Roman numeral 7 is the school safety and security update from our police liaison.
Yeah, I thought I saw him here a little while ago.
See him there.
Apparently, we don't have,
There.
okay. Dunkin' Donuts. Moving all along.
Moving on, Roman numeral 8
8.
are announcements. Should this say executive?
Motion on announcements, what?
I know.
Huh?
Huh?
Motion or what?
Should be executive
Got
session.
confused.
Sorry,
Oh, but I think she has to read
because
that.
I confused you.
Scribner's error.
Yes, Scribner's error, that should say executive session, sorry. Would you like me to read, or did you want to?
Motion on, which one are we doing right now?
You gotta read them.
Announcements or?
Announcements.
You want to do announcements?
Nope.
Okay, let's move on right to the executive session announcement.
Nobody had announcements?
Well, I think we have the Huntington,
Parade
yes, Friday.
tomorrow.
I'm tripping.
Friday.
Friday.
It's Friday.
This was.
We have Friday the
Well, we've been here
parade.
for 3 days, so it feels like tomorrow is Friday.
So that's Friday at the Old Huntington, and then we have the Memorial Day Parade. Refresh my memory, Mayor, where is that leaving from? Is that
From the
War Memorial?
War Memorial
Okay. And that's on Monday.
on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go to the executive session.
Executive session, so we have,
On that,
On that,
on the, I'm sorry, I'm in pain right now. On that agenda item, I move to remove, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I move to remove item 3 from the executive session agenda, discussion regarding the superintendent's contract.
can we, is that in the form of a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to remove the item 3, the
there a
executive session
second?
agenda.
I'll second that.
Our motion has been properly made and second. Mr. Pina,
On the motion,
on the motion.
at a time when the committee is actively considering reductions in force affecting teachers and staff, taking up a contract discussion for the superintendent sends the wrong message. This is not a question of avoiding appropriate evaluation or contractual obligations. It is a question of timing, priorities, and public trust. Our immediate focus should be on the fiscal realities before us, the impact on classrooms, and the employees whose positions may be eliminated. For those reasons, I move that item 3 be struck from tonight's executive session agenda and deferred to a future meeting when the district staffing and budget decisions have been resolved.
All right, motion has been properly made and second. Mr. Pina, on the motion?
On that motion, so
Go ahead.
it's to remove it from tonight and postpone it for a later date.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Pina,
Yes.
Ms. Azak,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
No.
Ms. Centeo.
No.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
That motion carries. The other two, ma'am.
May I speak on that?
Please do.
Thank you. This evening, we have several other items, salaries for non-union employees, superintendent contract being one of them. So we are taking up all employees right now. There is not necessarily a budgetary impact to a superintendent contract discussion. So I think to make that presumption is an assumption. And to not even enter into the discussion to see what the discussion would be. I'll be honest, I am concerned with that. And so I just want to let you know that I have demonstrated my commitment to Brockton. I think I've proven that I'm doing a good job and that I'm advocating. And I will say that those before me did have far more favorable and longer term contracts. And so I do think that that is something that this committee should be taking to heart and shouldn't just be dismissing me in this conversation, because I'm a part of this conversation and a part of this community too.
Well said.
Yeah, may I?
Go ahead, Mr. Gomes.
This caught me off guard, a little surprised, but I have to echo what the superintendent said. It doesn't necessarily mean there's a financial implication. It's always an opportunity. It's a good opportunity to have this discussion. Not to say defend the superintendent in any way, but considering the stress that someone in this position goes through and all the work that it involves, and for us to have a discussion and whatever the reasoning is and the decision that this committee gets to make, the committee gets to make. And I think we should take advantage of this opportunity to do so. To echo some of the things the superintendent mentioned, we've had people work for our district, and I wasn't here, drove into a deficit and other situations that have happened, and the work we have been putting in as elected officials and with the superintendent to clean, to fix, and we're still doing. Everything we're doing now is a result of things that have been going on for years and years and years. And to screw this opportunity of having a discussion of what it looks like moving forward. Because either way, at the end of the day, we're gonna need someone in the leadership role, capable and willing and committed to do the work and take this district forward. But to remove that opportunity from the board just because we're looking at a budget and assuming, again, financial implication, I don't think it's responsible, as we like to say, of this body. I am disappointed, and if only I could speak freely, but this body ought to really consider the decisions that we make. We're very contradictory because some members of this committee had reached out that they wanted to talk about the superintendent's contract, and I could assume the intention behind it, and I was like, okay, let me look and speak with the attorney and see how we can do that. However, now that we know that other members also had other intentions discussing the superintendent's contract, some members see it fit to just pull it from the agenda. But I'll leave it there, because if I go on, I might say something I will regret, so I'll just let it be.
Ms. Mateo.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it simple. I've been here for 5 months, and so far I've seen the work that you put in every day, but I also see what you take from other members. Us constantly overstepping you with your job duties often, us demanding that you give us the information right away, and when we don't, we feel privileged. And we constantly need to remind you that we are your boss. That's the mentality that a lot of us in this committee have. I am a little disappointed that we can't even do two things at the same time, which is to talk about our budgets, but also talking about someone that is committed, that is showing us that, hey, I want to be here and I want to continue to work for your city. I just don't know what to say, but I just want the community to know that I do see that you take a lot from us. And there's a times that I don't even want to read the emails. Some of us show up to your workplace demanding direct answers from, so we're even involving with personnel. We show up and asking for certain questions and demanding answers. So I feel for you. And again, I hope that everybody is seeing that you are here and you're trying to stay and move this district forward. I've connected with other peers that's been here longer to ask them, like, you know, how you've been. And so far, most of the members that's been sitting here before my time have shared that they have seen the progress that you made. So as a leader, I think the community can see that you are committed to moving us forward. Why we're making the decision not to even having a conversation about your contract, I personally feel like there's a personal reasons why some of us don't want to move forward. I just want to say sorry, because as somebody that works multiple jobs, I don't want to be in an environment where the people that are my supervisors are not really supporting me behind the scenes. And I don't feel like we're doing that with you. Thank you.
Ms. Azak.
I think this conversation took a turn that I was not expecting. This was not removing it completely. It was just to postpone it for a short time. That was my understanding. Yes, we should sit down with you. Right now, there's a lot going on in the next few weeks, and I just want to get through and see what our budget is, and then sit down and not cram this in on a long agenda. You should have the opportunity for us to sit down and go over things with you without the pressures of going through the budget. Yes, we can multitask, but I'm not saying you're not doing a great job. This was just a postponement. It wasn't completely removing it from the agenda. And I, without violating anything, I thought this was already addressed more recently, and it was to be postponed. So then it was on the agenda.
I can speak to that.
And can I speak to it, actually? So generally, the way these things work is that you guys need to start having a conversation even without me. And so it allows for an opportunity to have some dialogue. It's not to make decisions in the same evening. If you may remember back when it was being discussed to go from the interim to the permanent, it was on the agenda 3 different times before there was anything put forward to the committee. So it is a process. So starting it now doesn't mean you're ending it now. It means you're entertaining the possibility. And it is something that I requested from this committee because I'll be honest, I feel the community support, but sometimes I am unsure where I stand with this committee. And so I wanted to know.
Superintendent, I think some of us already have spoken with you directly, and I know you and I have had conversations, and other members have, so it's not that there's any disappointment, and that's why I'm asking to postpone it. I just feel like I want to get through the budget and see where our numbers are, and then just revisit it. And then again, it could just be in the next meeting or something, but it's just, we have a lot going on in the next few weeks, and it just, again, without violating anything, I thought this was just going to be postponed a short time. We can, I mean, we're only in May. You've been here 2 years come August, end of July? End of July, was it?
End of July,
Will be 2
yes.
years, okay. So it's not like it's ending in the next 12 months. There's still 2 years left, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it's just a postponement. That's how I understood it. So this whole conversation just really took a turn.
And if I won't bring up what happened in previous administrations, but I will say that having 2 years left, I don't think is material to when the conversation should happen, because I know in previous administrations, the conversation still happened. I would respectfully ask that the committee reconsider and at least entertain the discussion this evening. Again, the intention was not for me to even be present, but for y'all to be able to discuss in a way that was appropriate versus having phone calls and conversations, which isn't necessarily appropriate. But I'm happy to, I know Vice Chair, you plan to say something, but that's all I'll say on the topic.
Mr. Vice Chair, go ahead.
Yes. There was never a motion or intention of postponing. This is actually the first that's coming on the agenda. The first discussion we would have would be today, like officially on the agenda. I make a motion to reconsider the vote.
Second.
A motion for reconsideration has been properly made in second. Now, the vote will be no instead of yes.
Yeah, no to postpone. Well, the vote, the
To bring it
motion
back.
is, yeah, postponing.
To bring it back.
We'll vote again. If you're in
Correct.
favor of postponing, you vote yes. If you're not, you vote no.
Chair, on that motion, it's
Consent.
just the committee that's meeting with our attorney. Okay.
Is that
It's
what
just
it
our-
is?
Okay.
So you're making a
Reconsidering the
motion for
motion that Mr.
reconsideration with
Pina had
hopes that it
made.
prevails.
Yes, reconsideration with the hopes that it prevails.
Okay, so now we want yeses instead of nos.
Exactly.
So do you still second that?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Pina,
No.
Ms. Azak,
On that, I will say yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
I'll say no.
Ms. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Gomes,
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
No.
All right, so 3,
Fails.
It passes.
It passes 4.
It passes.
no, yes, no,
1, 2,
4 yeses. It passes.
4 and 3.
4 yeses and
No.
2 nos.
3 no.
Tim is back
Three.
to work.
3 no.
He's yes? Okay, so 5 yeses and 2 nos. So it was reconsidered. He was a no?
It was a no. It's 4-3.
Tim, were you a yes or no?
I was a no.
You were a no, so okay, 4-3, but it still passes. All right, so it will be we will consider that tonight. All right, go on to 1, please.
All right, so pursuant to so I'll read them all into the record. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares. Litigation update. The second item is pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And that is for salaries for non-union employees. Item 3 is pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, superintendent contract.
All right, so we have 3 items to discuss in executive session. Can I get a motion that we go into executive session and then we will not be returning to session?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
A motion has been properly made and second. Mr. Pina,
Yes.
Ms. Azak.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez. Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Gomes.
Yes.
Ms. Centello.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
All right. We are going to executive session. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
adjourn.
second.
All those in favor of adjournment? Mr. Sullivan, you good?
Yes.
All right, motion, having no further business for the children and pupils of Brockton, this meeting is adjourned.